What's up, y'all? It's Truth Tiger. I've got a video here for you today, and I'm going to talk about care and compassion. And I'm just going to say, like, what happened to empathy and compassion? What happened to care? Like, when did everybody just become so careless? And I don't think this is anything new. I think there has always been a lack of care and compassion in our society, but lately it's really gotten bad. It seems like it's reached a new level, and you need care, you need compassion. You can't just go around all apathetic and weird and just completely uncaring. And that's what it seems like we have in our society today, is just people who are completely dead and apathetic to things around them, and who just, in the grand scheme of things, completely don't really actually care. They care about the things that the Matrix tells them to care about. So if they're into politics, they'll care about whatever politics they're being told to care about. They'll care about whatever religion they're being told to care about. They'll care about whatever social movements or whatever, that kind of stuff that they're told to care about. They'll care about the things that the Matrix tells them to care about, but this is not an actual empathy and compassion care. It's more just they care in the same way that if their sports team loses, if people's sports teams lose, like, riots can happen. Like, I know in Europe and, I don't know, South America or whatever other parts of the world, like, people will have massive riots over soccer games, and people will get killed and stuff like that. Like, it's that kind of quote unquote care that they have. But in terms of actually caring about the people around them, caring about their friends and family, caring about the world, caring about, actually being good people and doing the right thing, that is really lacking, and that's pretty much gone. People have become pretty much entirely selfish and self-absorbed and self-focused, and they really don't care about anybody else, and they see other people as people who can give them attention, or people who can do things for them, or people who they can get resources from, or people who they can turn into their own personal therapist, or people who they can just be draining and annoying around, people who they can narcissistically abuse and turn into an emotional punching bag. Whatever it is, it runs the gambit. But just the complete lack of empathy, care, and compassion, is it's very it's very unnerving. And I'm kind of wondering, like, how long can we as a species go on with this complete lack of care and complete lack of compassion. I was reading about how in I think it's Japan and China, if someone falls down or gets injured and has an accident, people won't they won't do anything to help out. Sorry, I got to scratch my nose here for just a sec. People won't do anything to help out. I heard part of that's because of certain laws that don't protect people who help them out or whatever. But it's a kind of thing where people will just kind of step over people. And there's a lot of suffering in the world. There's a lot of people who are suffering, people who are starving. There's people, not even people who are starving, there's people who have plenty, but they're spiritually suffering, they're emotionally suffering, they're mentally suffering. There's a lot of pain and suffering on this earth, and most people on this earth are not happy or doing well in their lives, and are not on their spiritual goal and on their spiritual mission. And there's not much, what I'm trying to say, it's like people are just kind of seen as like a number. When you take away empathy, care, and compassion, it's like you just make someone into a number. They're just a data point. It's like when you take away care, compassion, and empathy, it's like you just dehumanize people. and you dehumanize yourself. And, it's like we're no better than a robot if you take away care, empathy, and compassion. We're not like a robot anymore, because if you don't care about anything, if you don't have empathy for anything, if there's nothing you really like have this care in your heart for, what is life? It's just a computer program in your mind. With no care or compassion or empathy in your heart, with no care for other people, with no, I want to help that other person out, I want to make the world a better place, I want to put truth out there, I want to put love out there. Without any of that, people are just literally like robots. And people live these lives of apathy, this gray, depressing apathy that people live their lives in. And I really think apathy is a form of hatred. It's not a white hot, the bomb's about to blow off, kind of exploding, yelling at people kind of hatred, but it's a hatred of like, I won't help that person. It's a hatred of like, whatever. It's a hatred of like, someone's suffering, someone's hurting, and you're not going to help them. And you're like, I don't care, whatever. It's a hatred in that form, to just be that selfish. But it's how most people are. And I don't know this for certain, but I believe it's why most people are so like depressed and unhappy. Some of the most depressed and unhappy people I've met are people who lacked empathy, who had no empathy whatsoever, and I talk to them about things, and they could be nice in transactional kind of ways, and like buying you gifts or inviting you over to their house or cooking you a meal or whatever, but you're talking to them about a problem you're going through, you're talking to them about some stuff, and they're just like, that's your problem. Why are you so weak that you have this issue? They'll kind of have that response toward you, and I'm kind of just like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all, and like, again, most people are completely detached from any kind of empathy whatsoever, and are detached from any kind of care or compassion whatsoever. And care and compassion gets corrupted and gets used and gets manipulated by society. And again, like I talk about with the sports team, where people are going to have care and compassion for the wrong things, care and compassion for some stupid celebrity thing that's not really anything good, care or compassion to enable a narcissist or whatever, care or compassion for their own selfish, stupid BS, care and compassion for some whole politics, some social movement, some religion, whatever. They'll put their care and compassion into these kinds of things rather than having their own genuine, true care and compassion. The true care and compassion that's in their heart, for others, to want to help others, not to just say, oh, like, well, I don't have to have my own care and compassion. The institutions will have it for me. The government will have care and compassion for me, and they don't. There's no care or compassion within the system, within the matrix, within religion, within social movements, within the liberalism or whatever. There's no care or compassion in any of that. All that care and compassion is false. It is false care. It is false compassion. And it puts people into states of gray, dead apathy. And people start to shuffle around like robots. Oh, one thing I forgot, the corporate world. The corporate world, that gets people very apathetic. Probably the most apathetic of anything. Like, you go into the gray building, you sit at your desk or in your cubicle or whatever, and you're just so like this robot, apathetic person. You're just kind of working along for something, and you're just like an ant in an anthill, moving a rock or a leaf around, essentially. And there's no like helping others, or there's no change in the world, or there's no real good fruit that comes out of that. You just sort of did paperwork, you filled out forms, and that's how most people are in their jobs and careers. It's just some stupid, robotic, gray, apathetic BS, and look, like, work needs to get done, jobs need to get done. There's nothing wrong with having a job or going to work or, doing that, but it's just this, it becomes this gray, dull, uncaring, you're just this closed off, just complete robot. And it's just, I could see why people get depressed and become very unhappy living lives like that. And the bottom side is the thing that people don't want to think about or to acknowledge is people in those positions also start to really lose care for their fellow, lose care for their family, lose care for their friends, lose care for goodness in the world as a whole, and just go, it's not my problem. It doesn't affect me. That's their problem. That's your problem. Doesn't affect me. It's not my issue. Whatever. That's how most people are. Whatever. We don't care. And it's the mindset and mentality most people have, and it's why most people will not really do much to help other people out or do much to look out for other people. And it's why most parents are very bad parents, because they are apathetic toward their own children and they do not care about their own children. And they want to either placate their children by just giving them the toys they want, giving them the video games they want, giving them the TV they want, so they can just have them do that. They don't have to pay any attention to them. Or they're going to be all angry at their children and jealous of their children and neglectful of their children and mad at their kids. A lot of times it's a combination of both, but if you want to be a true adult, empathy is required. Care is required. Compassion is required. Like, look, if I was doing these videos and I just completely didn't care, I had no compassion, no empathy, like, I couldn't help people get past narcissistic abuse. I couldn't help people heal in their lives. I couldn't expose truth about the world. I couldn't help people further in their spiritual mission. I couldn't do that. All I could do is just get on the camera and be a distracting clown and be a source of entertainment and just make a bunch of noise and, keep people distracted, tell people what they want to hear. But without actual care or empathy, I could not move people forward or move myself forward or do anything that's actually meaningful. It would all be false, fake, and empty, and ultimately disgenuine. And I also want to clear up a misconception. When a lot of people say they don't care, what they refer to is that they don't care about the judgments of other people. They don't care about society. They don't care about pleasing society. They don't care about the matrix. They don't care about what other people think. And that's good. You should not be caring about all that stuff. That's good. But what I'm referring to is people who are the opposite of that. They are apathetic to their mission. And yeah, these people do, I guess, kind of care about what other people think. And I guess maybe they put their care and their empathy and their compassion in the wrong place. I'm sorry, that's a little complicated. I might be kind of missing on that one. But I'm not referring to that at all. And I think not caring in the sense of not caring about other people's judgments and what other people think, that's very, very important. And that's part of stepping into courage and stepping into strength and stepping into being an individual. But in terms of looking around you and looking at the state of the world and looking at the state of people and looking at the state of yourself and looking at the state of society, and then to look at that and to go, I don't care, I'm just going to go to work, I'm going to go home, I'm going to play video games, I'm going to have some drinks at the bar with my friends, I'm going to do this, that, whatever, and I'm just not even going to think about any of it. And I'm not going to care about any of it. And I'm not going to have any compassion for any of it, And that's how most people live their lives. And that's why humanity is in the state of bondage that it's in to this narcissistic society and to this narcissistic matrix. And it's why so many narcissists are just running rampant and running roughshod on our society and on people and on families and on cultures and on everything. It's because people just say, it's not my problem. Or they go, there's going to be a fight if I try to bring that up with him. So, I'm not going to fight for that, If you don't care, you're not going to stand up and fight for anything good, If you don't care, and that's the thing. That's what happens in society. All this stuff is happening, and people just go, it's fine, whatever, it doesn't matter, That's what they do, and you're going, man, it does matter. It matters a lot. Like, so much emotional damage is being done. So much mental damage is being done. And in a lot of cases, so much physical damage is being done. And people are just, whatever, and they see people struggling and in miserable situations. And the thing is, they don't even care about themselves. So they look at the situation they are in with narcissism, with being in bondage to the system and being in bondage to the matrix. And, they see all this stuff going on that is happening to them. And they look at themselves in a state of slavery. And they look at themselves in a state of bondage. They look at themselves being trapped. And they go, why am I going to get free? I'm apathetic. Same here as everywhere, because they just don't care. They just say, there's a good scene in the third Batman movie from Christopher Nolan, Batman: The Dark Knight Rises, where, Batman's got thrown into this, hole by Bane, and his back has been broken and stuff. And he's in this weird prison somewhere, and he says he wants to, heal his back and break out and get back at Bane and all this stuff. And then he's talking to this guy, and this guy just says, here, there, what's the difference, And again, having that mentality of here, there, what's the difference, That's a mentality that's just going to keep you stuck. It's going to keep people stuck. It's going to keep society stuck, It really is. And I'm telling everybody here to start actually caring, to start actually having empathy. And look, apathetic people who are just don't care about, they're just gray and apathetic, and they're just I just have my own life, and I don't even care about myself at all, so how can I care about anybody else? You don't want to be around that, Not caring is just, I'm just going to sit around all day and I don't even care about anything. So why even get up in the morning? Why even do anything? Why even do that? Because I'm apathetic. I don't even care, And, without care, there's no love. There's no gratitude. There's no kindness, because, well, I don't care about, saying thank you to that person, so I'm not going to. I don't have any care to give, so how could I be loving towards other people? I don't know, I can't, And the thing about also care, there is a leadership aspect to care. Care is the feminine leadership, if you will. It's like the mother who cares for the children, you know what I mean? So with none of that, it's if you have some children, or you have a pet, or you have even just your physical possessions that you own, you're not going to have any ownership over anything without care. And you're not going to have any leadership or dominance or control or anything without care, because you're just going to say, well, I guess I could, take my dog out for a walk, but I don't care, I'm just going to set some little mat on the floor and let him, pee and poop in the house and whatever, I don't care, Well, I guess I could, do some stuff for my kids and whatever, but that would take energy and effort, and I just don't want to do that, and it's just nothing's going to happen, and it's the state of how most people are. And it keeps most people in this kind of submissive, slave-like, I don't have to be responsible for anything, And that's what a lot of people want. I don't want any responsibility. I don't want to be responsible for anything. And the tiger feels them on that on some level. Responsibilities are work, and I'm not trying to have all these extraneous extra responsibilities, but on some level, for me to grow and for me to become who I need to be, I need to take on responsibilities and take on missions and take on goals. And if there's no care, and I'm just like, well, whatever, there's no care whatsoever, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not going to get up and do any of that, and most people are in this apathetic, careless state, and it's a state where they don't have to have any responsibility. And it's also a state where there's not much moral or ethical, like obligation to them, because think about it like this. If you're, let's say, a teacher and you actually care about your students, and let's say you're having a bad day, your things aren't going well, your car won't start, you spilled coffee on yourself, and then you got all these scam phone calls, these idiots are calling you up about these scams, and you get in and you're pissed off, and then one of your kids starts teasing you and being weird and annoying, and then you yell at them, you say, shut up, you kind of yell at the kids, and if you have actual care and compassion, you're going to kind of sit back and self-reflect and go, oh man, I was having a bad day, and then that kid just kind of pushed me, and I yelled at them, and that was the wrong way to do things, and I need to kind of make that right, and I can see these little children are delicate and sensitive, and I don't want to cause long-term emotional damage to them just because my day was bad, But people without care and compassion are going to say, let's warehouse the kids. Let's just lock them in the cage, keep them busy, keep them occupied, because I don't want to have to deal with them. And, I've worked around education a little bit, and I have seen that there's a lot of good teachers out there that really care a lot about the kids, and, but there's some that don't, and they're just like, I want to sit on my phone, I want to go on a smoke break, I just don't want to have to deal with this. And that's a hard job, and it's not a job that I would advise getting into unless you really want to, but from what I've seen, it's like the teachers that have care and compassion and empathy are like the good teachers, And it's the same if someone has a pet or a dog or a cat or whatever. Like, some people are just going to be like, they have no care or compassion or ownership, so they're just going to view the dog as like a burden, as like this thing they're just like stuck with. And now I have to walk the dog. Now I have to take the dog to the vet. Now I have to do this. Now I have to do that. And the dog peed on the floor. And now, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, there's things you're going to get out of having that dog. You're going to have companionship. You're going to have fun. That dog's going to give you a lot of energy, and, it's going to get you kind of motivated. You're going to play with the dog. It's going to get you kind of up and going and give you purpose in life and stuff like that, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, like, when you see people in positions of leadership who do not care, you can see that it transfers over into the people who are under them, and they're not trying to grow or better the people that are under them. They're just trying to keep everyone warehoused and contained because they don't have any capacity for true ownership, And you see this with people who, I want a new dog, I want a new cat, I want this, and they're not responsible, and before you know it, they have to give it away, or something happens, or they neglect it, or whatever, and, again, no care or compassion. And really, like, care and compassion is required for responsibility, Someone cannot be responsible if they do not have care or compassion. Because if you are not responsible, i.e. what responsibility means is, in the case I'm talking about, is you are a leader, you have people under you, you need to look out for those people under you, whether those people are your children, a pet, you have to have that, like, all right, I'm going to care about these people, look out for these people, and, back to the teacher, it's like, I'm going to make sure these kids are having a good time, they're thriving, they're learning, they're growing, but if you can think back as a kid, most of the time in the classroom, it's just this gray, dull apathy, and the teacher's reading out of a book, and they're just like, they're burnt out, and you're burnt out, and you go home, your parents are burnt out, and nobody has any of that care, compassion, or like responsibility. And then you're kind of looking around like, who has me? Who's holding me? you know? Who's taking care of me? These people can't even take care of themselves. And, it's just, man. I'm going to sip a little coffee and get refocused here. But, and even at work, like you got some boss at work or whatever, and you can tell they don't care at all. They just want to put as little effort in as possible. And that's like apathy leads to laziness. People who are apathetic tend to want to put in as little effort as possible. People who are apathetic, they don't want to like do new things or try new things, or there's no real impetus of motivation. It's all just warehousing for apathetic people. We go here, then we go there. We go to work, then we go home, and ba-da-da-da-da. And, I really think apathy messes people's minds up, because I've been around apathetic people and it's like they can't even think straight. They're so just like not focused. They're so just like willing to throw you in the pool, and if you drown, they're like, oh no, we threw him in the pool and he drowned. Oh dear, oh gosh. And it's like, to that point, like apathetic people will also throw you under the bus too, Apathetic people are not looking out for you or protecting you or having your best interest at heart or taking ownership over you, because we all have to take some ownership over each other on some level, Cain said, I'm not my brother's keeper, after he murdered his brother. So we all have to have that ownership. We all have to kind of hold each other in the palm of our hand, and kind of, we all kind of have to carry each other and hold each other a bit, That's part of it. It is, and it's just these days, like, you're new with a job, there's nobody to take you under their wing. I'll always take the new guy under my wing. Always. And every place I've been to, everywhere I've been to, I have always tried to take the new guy under my wing and take care of him and show him around and make sure things are cool with him and stuff like that. I've always done that, but it hasn't been done for me very much. And as a matter of fact, I've had narcissists that have tried to destroy me and do the opposite of compassion and be destructive and crazy and use that position to do that. But if I ever have someone as a new guy, I always try to help build them up and build up their confidence and put them under my wing and carry them along and actually do that. But it's like, I look around me and it's like nobody else does that. And it's almost like the other people take pride in this apathetic thing. They take pride in just like, we're not going to help him. And we're going to see if he messes up, There's almost a, like I said, apathy is a form of hatred. There's almost a sadism to this apathy to say like, someone's on the ground having a heart attack, someone's on the ground having a seizure, and you step over them. That's sadistic, That's sadistic. And I talked about how in some cultures, unfortunately that does happen, but, to have that kind of idea of, something horrible's happening and people are going to just, whatever, some woman's being beaten and, God knows what's happening to her. And you go, whatever. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure there's two sides to that story. You see some guy getting beaten up and robbed and, I don't want to get involved in that, and it's just, that's what is kind of in most people's hearts and in how most people move, is just this apathetic, not willing to stand up for anybody, not willing to care for anybody, not willing to care for themselves, not willing to care about anything, nothing whatsoever. And look, like, I'm not saying I'm some perfect person who cares about everything and everyone and blah, 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 but like, I see myself having an attribute and I look around and I don't see that many other people having the same attribute that I have. And it's a necessary attribute. And I see most people are kind of just like deer, and they're just kind of jumping around. And the wolves come, and then the wolves eat one of the deer, and they don't do jack, and they just kind of run away, and they're like, oh man, like, what about Felicity? Oh yeah, the wolves ate her. Oh darn, that's kind of a bummer. I liked her, but we're still alive, so we don't care. Still plenty of us here. Whatever. I didn't get eaten. And that's the mentality that most people have, is like the same mentality as like a deer or something, and that's very low consciousness. That's very low in their heart. That's not what God wants for us, God made us in his own image, God made us to be like him. God made us to be empowered. And most people stay in that mentality, and they honestly take a weird pleasure in being like that. And they kind of enjoy being like that. And, that's just kind of how things are. And things happen. A lot of bad things happen to people, and if you've been through narcissistic abuse or whatever, you may have noticed the whole community is just sitting back like, whatever, a lot of people, and I've heard a lot of things where you see someone's relationship and there's clearly some abuse and manipulation and crap going on, and you go, man, like, I don't like that relationship. Like, I don't like the way he's talking to her, and they go, there's two sides to that story. Don't get involved. You go, okay. And then you go like, hey, like, she's being really weird to him. She's always flirting with the other guys, and like, she's like always arguing with him and stuff. Like, I don't like that. And then everyone was, shh, don't bring it up. Don't talk about it. And it's like, why are we enabling this? And that's my next segue, is like, apathy leads to evil being enabled, Because like, again, if you don't want to help anybody or stand up for anybody or stand up for anything good, and you're just apathetic, and someone's getting beaten up in the parking lot, and you're just sitting there drinking your 7-Eleven Big Gulp and eating your hot dog, like, oh, darn, they're really working him. Man, they're really beating him down. They're stomping him out. Good thing it's not me, but dang, well, whatever. And you see this. You see people, they'll take their phone out, I saw a video of a guy being attacked by pit bulls. And there's a bunch of people around, and he's about to get mauled by these dogs. And they're all just kind of videotaping. And then finally a German Shepherd comes in and scares the pit bulls off and saves the guy. But it's like, that dog had higher consciousness than all the human beings in the room. That animal had more righteousness. You understand this, that the animals in a lot of these cases are better than people, and it really is crazy. And you see this stuff so much, You really, really do. And it's just, man, but we are in a state of world where literally that the dogs and the cats are having higher consciousness than people, where stuff's happening to people, things are going on, and nobody really cares, And I'll take it back to Epstein, because I always like to bring this up, but like, he got caught, I think it was back in 1999, and there were some girls, and they're telling the cops, and they're telling everybody, and they finally get some article published in the back of Vanity Fair or something, but just like, people were just like, oh, darn, well, sorry, we can't help you. We don't really care, He's rich, he's powerful, so whatever, And I think about our school system too. They're just jamming these kids in these classrooms. They don't care about their education. They don't care about these kids getting ahead or doing better. They're trying to warehouse them and propagandize them. And again, like, nobody cares, And like literally, like, it's just, it's honestly sickening, Like the lack of empathy our society has, and the lack of care our society has, and like, our society is just like, let's say you're from the country. You drive into the city. You got your big pickup truck in the city. You're struggling. You're trying to go into downtown, and now you're looking for a place to park. It looks good, but then all of a sudden you come back and you got these 5 tickets on your truck, and you're like, oh no, how did this happen? And nobody's sort of trying to help you out and be like, hey, you can't park there. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's like our whole society is just like trying to like trip you up so we can get you in trouble and give you those metaphorical tickets, and that's really what it seems like it is. It's like you go in, you have no idea what the rules are, you have no idea what people expect, you have no idea what's expected of you. You start asking people what's expected of me around here, and nobody will tell you. You'll go into a new workplace and how do things kind of operate around here, whatever. And they go, things operate the way they operate. And like these cynical people will purposely not sort of lace you up and not sort of put you under their wing and not help you out and not tell you the way things are. So you're just destined to you're destined to screw up. You're destined to run into problems. You're destined to run into issues, and you're destined to break some rules that you don't even know about, And I know with my own parents, there's so much stuff they could have showed me and taught me and helped me out with and helped me along with and told me about life and the world, filling out these resumes and the job applications and doing all this paperwork and stuff like that. But they're just like, whatever, we're not going to help you. And it's like, the thing is like, you can pick yourself up by your own bootstraps. You can do that, but it takes so much effort, And for that one person to give you a hand and help you out, it takes that one person so little. It costs them nothing, and it will cost you everything. But they would rather have you pay that price and have it cost you everything to pick yourself back up than just to give you a little hand, give you some knowledge, help you out, tell you how things are, point you in the right direction, And I think there's people that maybe on some level want to do that, but they're not able to, They have not developed their care and compassion because they have lived lives of apathy and carelessness and just lives of whatever, and lives of just being focused on their own stuff and having very small consciousness, and just lives of like, man, and all right, we've been going on a long time, so I'm probably going to end this here, but yeah, we need much more empathy, compassion, kindness. We need much more empathy, compassion, kindness, love, care. We all need to take more ownership, We need more actual good leadership that's not like, I'm going to warehouse those people, or I'm this big authority figure and I'm just going to scare the people below me so I don't have to actually have any care for them or take care of them or help them out or whatever. Just going to lock them in the cage so they won't do anything, And that's how most parents are with their kids, and that's sort of how our government is with us, and that's sort of how the predominant leadership paradigm is I need to lock them in a cage and hide from them because I don't want to have to deal with them, And it's very, very unfortunate, but yeah, I'm going to end it here. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Really love all around. I love you all. And yeah, I'll see you next time.